All right, welcome to Unit 1, Activity 1. These videos are meant to help you manage the course content. Some people really struggle to just read and understand, so this is just a different way of looking at the same course information that is below. So let's get started. The first thing that we wanted to talk about is the why of clothing. So when we think of fashion, there are certain ideas that come along with that. So depending on your knowledge and your experience, I'd imagine everyone in the class would have a different 10 words. And that's because clothing is so crucial to everything, really, if you think about it. People have been wearing clothing from pretty much all of recorded history, and clothing is important because it provides protection, it provides modesty. People also use it to make themselves more attractive. It shows that you can identify with a group, or it could show your status. So clothing has an impact on many other factors that we look at in social science courses. So let's look at the basic one, protection. Human beings are pretty weak creatures on our own. We don't have a lot of protective factors, like we don't have really sharp teeth, we don't have a thick skin, we don't have like a shell armor or anything like that. So we do need protective cover to help us stay warm and dry. You can think of clothing that you would wear if you were going camping might be different than clothing that you would be wearing if you were sitting in school all day. We also use clothing to protect ourselves from other things, so maybe insects, enemy combat, injury on the job, all sorts of things tie into why we use clothing to protect ourselves. The other factor that I wanted to talk about is modesty. So one of the quotes in the content I really like, and it talks about fashion being the desire to dress within the rules of decency. So what is described as decent changes over time. So what was decent 100 years ago is definitely not the same as the things that are decent now. These rules not only change over time, but they change over geography. So different cultures and different countries have different ideas about what is decent in regards to clothes, and also social groups. So one of the things that you need to think about when you are buying fashion or participating in fashion is modesty. Modesty might be something that is at one of your core values, and on the other hand, it might be something that you couldn't care less about. So it's just one factor that might be in the back of your mind. Adornment is something that we do to make ourselves more beautiful and enhance your appearance. And like modesty, adornment changes across time and across culture. Adornment is usually so people will think more highly of you. So ways that we adorn ourselves now might include makeup, jewelry, watches, ties, or more permanent things like tattoos, or also accessories or ornaments, as you'll see in the course content. Identification is one of the last things that we're going to look at. Identification helps us show that we are a member of a specific job or a team. So if you go to Catholic school, you might be wearing a uniform, and that will show that you belong at that school. Uniforms can also be professional. So there are lots of different jobs that require you to wear a uniform. And if some of you are working, you might be in a job where you need to wear a uniform. If there's not a uniform, there are also other things that might show that we're a membership of a group, such as a badge or a pin or an emblem. Those all show that we are part of a particular group. So I have my OCDSB name tag that I'm supposed to wear at things like parent-teacher interviews, so that parents know that I'm a teacher at the school or staff at the school. Designer labels also have similar impacts of identification. They identify you with a particular social group. So if you're always wearing Fendi and Gucci and all designer all the time, then that's going to indicate that you have a higher social status and you have money. Colors can also help identify people. So, for example, if you go to a wedding, the bride might be the one person in white or ivory, and it's not usually acceptable for other people to be dressed in a similar fashion. So that person stands out. Elsewhere in the world, it might be the person that's wearing red. So colors of garments can help us identify who is who. One of the last things is status. Clothing and accessories can give us an insight into one's status in society. So if you're wearing a crown and it's on Halloween, you're probably royalty. If you're a bride, you might wear your dowry as jewelry, so the money that you're bringing into the marriage. Something that might be in your near future is going to prom. So in going to prom, you generally wear a more formal ball gown to symbolize that you're an adult, and that's what adults do. So you look more like you're ready to head down the red carpet than you are to go to a study group. So one of the things we'll be looking at is why people wear certain clothing, and it's really the job of the designer to find a target group that's going to wear their clothing. So we pick clothing that fit our individual values, attitudes, and personalities. And as you can imagine, that is different for everyone. So how does somebody design clothes that will appeal to multiple people? And really the things that we have to consider are things that we value in a garment. So some people prefer comfort, people prefer economy, so like how much it costs. Some people wouldn't buy something if it was dry clean only because they want it to be easy care. And conversely, some people might value prestige in a garment, so they would save their money and buy less shoes, but buy a really nice pair of shoes rather than having multiple pairs of shoes. Also, one important thing to note is that people's fashion choices change as they get older. So what's stylish to you now at the age of 15, 16, 17 is not going to be the same thing that is stylish to you when you're 27 or 37 or 47. So that's going to be it for the first module. If you have any questions, let me know. And I think you're ready to do the fashion quiz.